We do not heal the past by dwelling there. We heal the past by living fully in the present. Imagine this. You wake up one morning, and for the first time, you see it clearly. Every choice you've ever made, every fear that has held you back, every relationship you've sabotaged, all of it, traced back to a single source. Not fate, not bad luck, not even your own conscious decisions, but your past. Not just the big traumatic moments, the failures, the betrayals, the losses, but the subtle ones, the ones you barely noticed at the time. The offhand comment from a parent that made you feel unworthy. The teacher who told you you'd never be good at something. The first time you were rejected and decided deep down that you weren't enough. These moments didn't just happen to you. They rewired you. And now, years later, you're still living by their rules. You tell yourself you've moved on. You've built a life, achieved things, maybe even convinced yourself you're free. But then, in quiet moments, you catch yourself reacting in ways you don't understand, avoiding risks you could take, clinging to people who don't deserve you, feeling an inexplicable dread when success is within reach. Why? Because the past isn't something you leave behind. It's something you carry inside you, whispering in your ear, shaping your thoughts before you even have a chance to question them. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the part of yourself you refuse to see, the buried pain that still pulls your strings. Nietzsche warned that if you don't confront your history, it will become a ghost that haunts your future. So here's the great, unsettling question. If your past is still controlling you, how much of your life is truly yours? And more importantly, how do you take it back? This is not just about remembering. This is about waking up from a trance you didn't know you were in. Let's go deeper. You don't remember the moment it happened. No one does. There was no dramatic event, no sudden shift, just a slow, imperceptible bending of your mind to accommodate a truth you didn't choose, a truth someone else gave you. Maybe it was the way your father's silence made you believe love was conditional, or the way your first heartbreak taught you that vulnerability leads to pain, or the time you failed at something important and decided, without ever saying it out loud, that you weren't cut out for greatness. These weren't just memories. They became laws, invisible commandments etched into your nervous system, dictating how you move through the world. This is the hidden problem. Your past doesn't just influence you, it inhabits you. Freud called it repetition compulsion, the unconscious drive to recreate old wounds in new forms, as if the mind is desperate to finally solve the original pain. Jung saw it as the unprocessed shadow, the exiled parts of yourself that still govern your behavior from the dark. But perhaps the most brutal insight comes from Schopenhauer. A man can do as he wills, but not will as he wills. In other words, you think you're making choices, but your will itself is shaped by forces you've forgotten. Modern neuroscience confirms this. Every experience you've ever had physically rewired your brain, strengthening some neural pathways, weakening others. Your fears, your insecurities, your deepest beliefs about what you deserve, they're not just thoughts, they're structures. And society? It exploits this. Advertising preys on your childhood longing for acceptance. Social media algorithms feed on your ancient fear of exclusion. The entire modern world runs on unhealed wounds because a broken person is easier to control. Huxley warned us, man does not want to be free, he wants to feel free. So we tell ourselves comforting lies. I've moved on. That doesn't affect me anymore. I'm just being realistic. But the body remembers what the mind denies. Your racing heart when you're about to speak up. The way you freeze when opportunity knocks. The inexplicable self-sabotage right before success. These aren't accidents. They're echoes. And they're louder than you think. The most dangerous prison is the one you don't know you're in. You wake up each morning believing you're free, that your choices are yours, that your reactions are conscious, that your life is unfolding according to your will. But beneath the surface, something far more unsettling is happening. You are being lived by your past. Consider this paradox. The very mechanisms designed to protect you are now imprisoning you. That hypervigilance that kept you safe as a child? It now manifests as chronic anxiety, scanning every interaction for hidden threats that no longer exist. The emotional detachment that helped you survive neglect? It now sabotages your ability to experience deep love. The perfectionism that once earned you praise? It has become a torture chamber where nothing is ever good enough. Nietzsche saw this clearly. Beware that, when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. For when you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you. The abyss is your past, and it's gazing back at you through your relationships. Why you're drawn to people who recreate familiar pain. Your career. Why you plateau just before breakthrough moments. Your self-image. Why no amount of achievement fills the void. Cognitive science reveals an even darker truth. Your brain actively distorts present reality to match past expectations. This is called confirmation bias. You see what you've been conditioned to see. The neglected child becomes the adult who misinterprets neutral events as rejection. The bullied teenager grows into the successful professional who still feels like an imposter. Sartre called this bad faith, the lies we tell ourselves to avoid facing uncomfortable truths. But there's a more insidious layer. Cultural conditioning weaponizes your past against you. Social media feeds on your need for validation. Consumerism thrives on your unresolved inadequacy. The entire attention economy profits from your unhealed wounds. Huxley's prophecy has come true. We're drowning in distractions that prevent us from seeing our chains. The most tragic consequence? You mistake the prison for safety. The familiar pain feels like home. The self-sabotage masquerades as wisdom. As Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. But here's what they don't tell you. The past isn't holding you back. Your interpretation of the past is. And that you can change. The moment of liberation begins with a single, terrifying realization. You are not broken. You are asleep. And what has been conditioned can be deconditioned. This is not about positive thinking or motivational platitudes. This is neurological warfare, a deliberate rewiring of your deepest programming. The process is neither quick nor painless, but it follows an iron law. Awareness precedes change, and action cures fear. Step 1. The shadow hunt. Jung's greatest insight was that we don't solve our darkness. We integrate it. Begin a daily practice of pattern recognition. When do you feel irrational resistance? What situations trigger disproportionate emotion? Where do you keep hitting the same wall? These are your psychological tripwires, buried landmines from past wounds. Map them mercilessly. Step 2. The body never lies. Trauma researcher Bessel van der Kolk proved what philosophers suspected. The body keeps the score. Your muscles, breath, and nervous system hold truths your mind denies. When past programming activates, freeze. Notice physical tension. Name, this is my abandonment fear speaking. Reclaim, I choose a different response now. This creates what neuroplasticity expert Donald Hebb called fire together, wire together. New neural pathways to override old conditioning. Step 3. Sacred disobedience. Nietzsche's concept of self-overcoming demands deliberate rebellion against your own conditioning. If fear says, play small, take bold action. If shame whispers, you don't deserve, claim your worth anyway. Each act of conscious defiance weakens the past's grip. The alchemy of repetition. Psychologist William James discovered that new behaviors become automatic in 66 days. Your assignment: morning, 5 minutes visualizing your unshackled self. Noon, one deliberate act contradicting old patterns. Night, journaling observed shifts. This isn't self-improvement, it's conscious evolution. As Viktor Frankl proved in Auschwitz, even in the worst circumstances, the space between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. But be warned, the past fights back. Expect intense resistance after breakthroughs, identity vertigo as old selves die, temptation to return to familiar chains. This is when most fail. This is when you must persist. Because on the other side awaits what Dostoevsky called the second birth. Not the person you were supposed to be, but the one you truly are. Here is the secret no guru will tell you. Your past never controlled you. You gave it permission. This is the ultimate paradox of human existence. The traumas, the conditioning, the invisible scripts, they only had power because somewhere along the way, you confused what happened to you with who you are. But consider this. The same mind that was programmed can reprogram itself. The same nervous system that learned fear can learn freedom. The same life that was shaped by unconscious reactions can be reshaped by conscious choice. The final truth is this: your past is not a life sentence. It's a conversation, and you get to decide how it ends. Dostoevsky, who spent years in a Siberian prison camp, discovered this in the depths of suffering. There is only one thing that I dread, not to be worthy of my sufferings. In other words, the pain was never the problem. The meaning you assigned to it was. This is why two people can experience the same trauma. One becomes bitter, closed, convinced the world is against them. The other becomes wiser, more compassionate, more alive. The difference? Interpretation. Your past does not define you. Your relationship to it does. Jung called this individuation, the process of reclaiming all the disowned parts of yourself. Nietzsche called it amor fati, the love of one's fate. Frankl called it the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance. Now, the most important question: how do you want your past to serve you? As an excuse? Or as fuel? As a prison? Or as a teacher? As a wound? Or as a compass? The choice is yours. But know this: the moment you stop seeing your past as something that happened to you and start seeing it as something that happened for you, everything changes. Your pain becomes purpose. Your struggles become strength. Your history becomes wisdom. This is not denial. This is alchemy. And so, we end where we began. Imagine this. 1 year from today, you wake up and realize the memories are still there, but the chains are gone. The lessons remain, but the pain has transformed. You are not who you were. You are something new, not despite your past, because of it. Now, what will you do with this knowing? The rest is yours to write.